Welcome to the first Beyond the Box Art commission showcase video. In today's video we'll be looking at a Blood Bowl Necromantic Crypt-Stealer box art commission that was completed April 2022. I was asked by the client that I match the box art colours as close as I could and was given no further specifications other than to put the transfers of the names of the model on their bases. I wanted to use the team as a way of demonstrating that I could paint just as well as the Eavy Metal team painters could. They did, in fact, bag me a meeting with the manager of the team that had painted the models, where they told me I would have gotten the job if it wasn't for a transfer request from the 40k Eavy Metal painting team that they were required to honour. I'm going to try and remember and describe the paints and processes used, but this video isn't a tutorial. I can admit that putting together a good painting tutorial isn't my forte, and that the Toad King tutorial for Patreon and Ko-Fi is still in the works. That said, painting tutorials are probably not going to be a big part of my business model going forward. For now, I see what we do here at Beyond the Box Art as threefold: commissions, painting miniature sales, and tuition, both online and in person, one-on-one or group sessions. All the undead were given a zenithal prime through the airbrush and then painted with an artist's opus brush. With that preface out the way, and without further ado, I present to you the Necromantic Crypt-Stealers at a box art standard by myself. We'll start with the pumpkin and intestine balls, respectively. The orange gourd balls started with the same recipe for the rest of the team for the orange: amaranth red, a wash of Wagon orange, and then highlighted up using the Troll Slayer orange and a mix of that and sunny skin tone. Their little bumps were highlighted using German yellow. The bright green started with olive green, then warpstone glow and livery green. The guts balls had plaguebearer flesh and nurgling green for the skin, and then scream of pink, a flesh shade, fulgrim pink, and pastel violets for the guts. The metals. Most of the metals were gunmetal grey, bronze, gold and chrome by Vallejo model colour, and they dealt with most of the metals, but with these tokens we had to start a little darker, so we had warp block bronze to start. Another exception for the metal was the staple teeth at the base of the headstone markers, which had ethematic blue and then highlighted with ivory or white. The black and white used on these tombstone tokens were the same recipes used for the black on the kit and the white of the wraiths. The black is black, dark reaper, administratum grey and blue horror, and the white recipe was celestra grey shaded with thin down Nuln oil and highlighted with white heavy body acrylic by Primacryl. The skin of the zombies was plaguebearer flesh, followed by a glaze with burgundy and brown in the shadows, finished with stippling or glazing up with a mix of plaguebearer flesh, sunny skin tone and nurgling green. The bag heads were Bane blade brown, Garrick stone and ivory, and the straw was Eandon yellow and Nasdreg yellow at a ratio of about 1:4, highlighted with the same mix but adding ivory in. The ghouls, in addition, the white recipe mentioned earlier, with the caveat that the blends on these guys are wider and smoother, that had tiny subtle bits of fluorescent orange on one and green on the other. A minor detail I'd noticed in the official artwork. There's also just less grey and black allowed in the space than I did on the gravestones. Wood and rope were done with wildwood and skeleton horde, I think, at the time, and I was using ivories, mixing that or something like that in with the wildwood and skeleton horde to do the highlights. And then we've got the werewolves. The brown werewolf had a mix of Rhinox hide and then layers of Nightquest or flesh and Carrick stone for the highlights on his fur and skin. The blue-grey wolf was started with Dark Reaper, given a wash of Nuln, and then highlighted brought up back with Dark Reaper, and then using all the Space Wolf colours, so the Fang, Rust Grey, Fenrisian Grey and Blue Horror. So after these guys, we get into the really difficult skin tones. So for the blue Ghoul Runner, he had the same workup as the grey-blue wolf, but then given an all-over heavy glaze, avoiding the recesses of Electric Blue by Vallejo, the Gay Mare version, before having Blue Horror highlights. The more pallid ghouls started with rust grey blended with ivory, and then a very light covering of Reichland flesh shade before being highlighted back up using pallid witch flesh and ivory. Finally, we have the Frankensteins. The green and ivory one with the helmet. Well, the ivory of his skin was Talon sand washed with Agrax, highlighted back up carefully using the base colour, Talon sand, and flayed one flesh mixed together, and then finished with a shabty bone and ivory. Green for him was Elysian green, targeted black wash in the recesses, layered back with Elysian and brought up in value using Ogrin camo and ivory. And the blue and grey-green one with the open brain case had the same recipe of blue as the ghoul, but the electric blue glaze was much weaker, and it also got more blue horror to finish it. The lighter green skin of his was Skarsnik green, Athonian camo shade in the recesses, layered back up with Skarsnik, and then Skarsnik mixed with Nurgling green and a bit of blue horror mixed together. His yellow and green foot and ankle, that was Dawn yellow and livery green. I think more or less just those two colours. And that's more or less the whole paint scheme. If you're interested in a commission or buying any painted models, don't hesitate to send us an email using the email on the channel info page. And if you're still here, please smash that like button. If you aren't already subscribed, click that one too. And if you really enjoyed it and are looking forward to more, then comment down below and set the notification to all on the bell to make sure you see all of the future BTBA videos. Be well, and thanks for watching.